Hello and welcome to the Shallow Dive Show. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we will be taking a shallow dive into the recent Capitol insurrection in Washington, D.C. On January 6, 2021, a pro-Trump mob instigated by President Trump forcibly invaded the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. This occurred during the Congress confirmation of the 2020 presidential election, in which they are supposed to count the electoral votes and report them. This is the first successful U.S. insurrection in almost 200 years. This is truly an unprecedented event, especially since it was ignited by the current acting president. The timeline of this event goes as follows. On December 19, 2020, President Donald Trump tweeted, "Big protest in D.C. on January 6th. Will be wild." This shows that this protest was both known about from government and law enforcement circles, and that it wasn't planned secretly. This was a known protest and a known danger. On January 6th at 11 a.m., 2021, the Trump rally, called the Save America Rally, officially begins in D.C. after many Trump supporters stayed in D.C. that same night. At 1:10 p.m., the rioters began to fight with the Capitol Hill Police Department, being violent and showing a lot of aggression. At 1:40, the D.C. Mayor, Muriel Bowser, orders a 6 p.m. curfew, ordered to end at 6 a.m. the next morning. Many people did not follow this curfew. At 2:11, rioters breached the police line. They scaled walls, assaulted police officers, and broke the Capitol windows to get inside of the building. At 2:22 p.m., Vice President Pence is escorted to safety. Trump later tweeted that he was a coward for not voting the way that he wanted and for going to safety. At 2:44, shots were fired in the Capitol chambers. Many members of Congress tweeted this to confirm the time and to confirm the shots. At 4:05 p.m., congressional members were evacuated. They were given emergency escape hoods to protect them from chemical weapons, which seemed a logical fear with what the protesters had brought and how the protesters were acting. At 8 p.m., Congress reconvenes and confirms the election and confirmed that President-elect Joe Biden will be sworn in on January 20th. Next up, the aftermath of this situation. What we have learned since the insurrection. Guns and pipe bombs were found hidden in the area. Zip ties were brought for taking people hostage. Remember that the people in this building are some of the most important people in American politics. The police were heavily unprepared and behaved poorly. 2 officers were arrested for their behavior. One of them was recorded taking selfies with one of the rioters. Now to address the person who encouraged the rioters during the riot and who sparked the idea of the riot far prior to it, President Donald Trump. His tweet on December 19th and his language in many of the speeches beforehand incited violence. In response to this, during the first session of the 117th Congress of the United States, the House of Representatives drafted articles of impeachment. This is the second time articles of impeachment have been drafted against President Donald Trump. If these articles of impeachment are passed, then he will be the only president to have been impeached twice. The article of impeachment was for inciting an insurrection. His previous articles of impeachment have included abuse of presidential power. This is unprecedented for one president to have. The sources I used for this video are in the description.